Hi, I'm Lady Genevieve, and this video is me answering fan questions about Bridgerton Season 2. If you have not already seen my other Bridgerton video, I have posted one that was about Kate and Anthony, and next up I will be posting a video review about all the other characters and plots from the season. So feel free to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my Bridgerton coverage. These are questions I have taken from YouTube and Twitter. I took screenshots and I put them into a folder, all for the purpose of answering them now. The first question reads, could you tell us anything about Colin and Penelope? Also, I am super excited to see the Haldi ceremony in the show. The Haldi ceremony is really beautiful. I'm not particularly knowledgeable about Haldi beyond a certain amount of Googling that I did after watching the show. So if you are Indian and you would like to chime in the comments and add more detailed context and information, I would hope that this is a safe space for everybody to learn about other cultures. But on the show, it's just really beautifully shot, and I love that it's this moment of the Sharma women all being together. I don't know what the plans are for season 3, but I really hope we can see more of them together again in it. I would have much preferred for them to have their own subplot instead of seeing an entire Featherington family subplot again.
How'd you say it? That's right, questionable.
But I will be doing that rant in another video, so I will spare you from it here. But yes, Colin and Penelope, I will be chatting a bit about them in the other video. The Colin and Penelope thing confused me as a viewer because I watched season 1 and season 2 without reading any of the books or looking up any of the fan chatter about them, so I had no idea that they were supposed to be endgame and that it's presumably going to be a thing that comes in season 4. There is a clip of them from this season that's been making its rounds on the Bird app where he tells her she's his friend.
We are going to pretend we didn't hear that.
I feel like that line perfectly embodies my issues with them and their relationship as it's been presented so far on the show. I get that you're trying to show that only Penelope is interested, romantically speaking, and Colin is not, but I feel like if they're really supposed to be friends, the writing on the show has just not done quite enough consistently to convey that the friendship is mutual. Having him outright say it, you're my friend, I get what you were going for, but to me, watching that, my knee-jerk reaction was, show me, don't tell me. I think it takes way too long for them to actually show what he has to offer her as a friend.
I mean, let me ask the audience.
She is, of course, still very much romantically interested in him, but I don't think it's a spoiler to say that we won't be making much progress on his end to move his feelings in a romantic direction towards her. I'm assuming the writers are doing a rough map behind the scenes of how much progress they want to make with certain characters before they get to their respective seasons, kind of like what Anthony had going on in season 1. Colin feels like a character that is just trying to figure himself out and be less of a boy and more of a man, and he's just not ready yet. Next question. I've been a bit concerned that since Kate and Anthony are the enemies to lovers trope, that Anthony would be too much of a jerk to her. That happens once or twice in the book, so does the show avoid that? Yes, it avoids 100% of that. I did talk about this a bit in my video that was just about Kate and Anthony, but I can possibly elaborate a bit more on it now. So I watched season 2 before reading the book, and I loved absolutely everything about their relationship, which is why it was a peculiar experience to go and read the book for the sake of research for doing coverage of the show here on my channel. And finding out that Anthony in the book can occasionally be, by my standards, a bit of a... Is scumbag too strong a word? Listen, I've read far worse in the romance genre, but it was still weird to read some of the ways that he behaved towards her. Kate in the book can pop off a little bit, but I feel like you can really tell that she's insecure about her looks and she's insecure about how everyone has always found Edwina more attractive and more appealing than her. Kate Sheffield, not for me. Kate Sharma, 100% my girl, and I will fight anyone and everyone for her.
I'm just here to fight.
I just didn't like how physically aggressive Anthony was in the book. If you're into that, that's fine. But in the show, he doesn't manhandle her like that. He's definitely attracted to her, and there is that forbidden quality to their attraction to each other. But Jonathan Bailey's Anthony Bridgerton, let's just say that even if there isn't anything physical happening. He's very good with his words.
How's that sexual tension this morning?
The next few questions are all from the same Twitter user, and I never put a limit on how many questions people could submit, so I don't mind answering a few of these. Some of them I will have to skip, either because it's spoilers or because I'm not allowed to answer. Netflix has provided a list of plot points that reviewers are not allowed to talk about before the premiere, and I do not want to get in trouble with Netflix. So the first question is, what moment do you think Anthony fell in love with Kate? I actually know the answer to this question, but I'm not going to tell you the answer. If you watch the show, you will find out.
That's suspicious.
Next question is, what do you think about the evolution of Kate's wardrobe and hair? I believe the costume designer Sophie Canal has been interviewed at some point about Kate's costumes and about moving her into lighter, warmer colors as the season progressed, but I actually was sent a press packet that contained different quotes from cast and crew from the show, including Sophie Canal, and she was asked about the color palettes. And if you are not new to my channel, then you already know I love a good color palette. So Sophie said, in season 1, we established the look between households. The Bridgertons in their pastel colors, the Featheringtons in their citrus colors. Color to me also helps identify the feeling of the character. When the audience sees a character in costume, I'd like them to have an understanding of the character before they even say a word. For the Sharmas, I very much wanted to incorporate the dual colors of India and the Ton. Kate is the strongest character in that family, so you can see that in her bolder color palette. She has a very strong connection to her home, so I've kept that in all her colors. Edwina Sharma has arrived in this new world in London, and she really wants to be accepted, so I've kept her in softer color palettes. We do have some pops of pinks to represent her origin, but I did want to keep her in this really soft, naive color palette, so she is closer to the Bridgerton palette. And Mary Sharma, their mother, is in softer pink tones because she herself is softer, more vulnerable. Last season, Lady Danbury was in lots of purples, but this season we've moved her more into the reds, because as much as she is part of the Sharma world, I still wanted her to be distinctive in her own right. So let's talk about Kate's hair. One of the things that I love about her hair, besides the fact that it's beautiful, we can see that, I love the variation in whether her hair is up or partially down, or more or less entirely down. This is a society where everyone is extremely bundled up. You're wearing corsets, you reveal very little skin, because how scandalous would it be if someone saw your ankle? And the women also have their hair up in these tight updos. So whenever you get to see Kate with her hair either partially or completely down, it's a big deal because that means more of your guard is down. It's revealing something about oneself, not just physically, but emotionally. There's all these formalities in the social decorum of this time period and the socioeconomic tier that most of these characters are in. So when your hair is down, that means something. Whether Kate is alone or if she has company, if her hair is down, that probably means that she can be more free. I might be towing the line here, but hopefully no one will come after me for saying this. The first time Kate and Anthony meet, her hair is partially down. And just compare her demeanor in that first scene with him when her hair is down versus the second time at the party when she's in the formal wear and her hair is up. And you know what also is up? Her guard. The next question is, what hand scene between Kate and Anthony did it for you? All of them? No, but even though that is true, I know you're wanting me to single out more things about the hand stuff, even though I already went on a lengthy tangent about the Kate and Anthony hand stuff in my Kate and Anthony review video. I had said in that video that the first time you see Kate and Anthony hand stuff, that it's this huge epic thing, and I was rewatching the season after making that video, and it turns out they actually had another hand stuff moment before the part that I was thinking of when I said that.
You know what? I did say that. My bad.
The first time you see any sort of Kate and Anthony hand stuff or contact, it's cute and you are all going to love it. But the hand stuff that they have after that, so I guess that would be the second time, that is so powerful. It's a cultural reset. I will not tell you which episode it's in. If you watched my Kate and Anthony video already, that part where I said there was a scene that I kept watching over and over again, I was referring to the second time that you see Kate and Anthony hand stuff. Once you see the first hand stuff and the second hand stuff, you'll know why it was that the second time was the one that I kept playing on a loop. You know what? I'm gonna stop now because I've probably already said too much.
My lips were made for talking, and that's just what they'll do.
Next question. What friendship between Kate and a Bridgerton sibling was your fave? I'm not entirely sure how to answer this question. Kate and Eloise have a couple of nice exchanges. In the book, I was actually pleasantly surprised by that first scene where Kate Sheffield is shown to get along really well with Colin when they first meet. That particular scene was not in the show, but there is a different moment involving Colin and Kate Shadama that I found to be very entertaining. To be honest, I would actually rather use this question as an excuse to hype up Kate's scenes with Lady Danbury. They have quite a few over the course of this season, and those are really important scenes to getting more insight into Kate as a character. I didn't get a chance to mention it when I was doing my Kate and Anthony video because it was just so long already that I didn't want to scare anyone off by making it even longer. The first question on the next screenshot I cannot answer. So the second question is, how would you differentiate the intimacy in season 1 and season 2? I don't know what this person is referring to. Are we inquiring about physical intimacy or emotional intimacy? If we're talking about physical intimacy without being too specific, and some of this is reiterating points that I've already been making in my reviews, Anthony in the book was more aggressive in a way that I personally was not a huge fan of when reading the book after seeing the season. I think Anthony in the show is better at understanding consent than Anthony in the book.
Oh, I'm for that. I'm all for that.
Alrighty, girl.
I don't know if that's a generational difference to romanticize men who throw themselves on women, but that would really freak me out if a man I barely knew just lunged at me. No disrespect if you're into that, to each their own. I also think a fair bit of the physical intimacy on the show is intertwined with what I mentioned in my Kate and Anthony video, the emotional edging.
You can't touch me. You can't play with me. You can't do anything to me. Ugh.
It's very, let's get really close to each other and get each other really worked up and the audience really worked up, and you just really want them to act on each other's feelings already. Is YouTube going to suppress me for saying the word edging too many times in these videos?
Squeeze me?
Oh, no, you did.
Like and comment on this video to stop YouTube from silencing me when I talk about Anthony and Kate emotionally edging each other and the audience. Also, I like that Kate is not insecure about her appearance in the show. I didn't really enjoy reading that particular quality of hers in the book because she's not like that in the show. So that energy is not present at all in the way that she carries herself. In a very rough comparison, I would say if you're comparing season 1 to season 2, it's like asking whether you're a Sandy or a Rizzo. Daphne was this naive, unaware girl who really didn't know much about stuff. Very first love. I don't know if it's harsh to say, but it's a little bit like how there's that recurring template in YA fiction where a protagonist can often feel more like a blank slate that the reader can project themselves onto, just discovering the world and discovering love and other things for the first time. But I am not a Sandy. I don't like her. I don't mind Daphne though, and I actually really like her in season 2.
The way I treated Sandy, I told you I was sorry about that.
Yeah, got you joking. Remember that? Yeah. Trash.
That particular type of romance is just not really what I personally go for.
Thank you. Oh my God, thank you.
But Rizzo, she's cool, she does what she wants, and because of that, people think she's meaner or scarier than she actually is. And Kate has a sort of similar self-assured way of carrying herself. If we're talking about emotional intimacy, like I said, season 1 was very first love, discovery, but with season 2, it's this sexy, forbidden, passionate attraction between two people who are denying themselves what they really want out of duty to put their families first. And also, they have so much in common with each other that the emotional intimacy has more depth and feels more authentic. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well, but the long story short is that I much prefer season 2. Season 1 was cute, except for that one part where it absolutely was not.
Disgusting!
Next question, what is your favorite comedic scene? Ooh, there are so many, but I don't know if it's as much of picking out one specific scene in its entirety and labeling it as funny as it is the fact that Bridgerton is a consistently funny show. There's always a line or some little occurrence here and there that ensures a comedic tone throughout, which means that overall the show, even with all of its intense passion and dramatic angst, you never have to look far for something funny to brighten your mood. Of course, Pall Mall has funny things about it. Also, anything involving Newton is usually pretty funny. Edwina says something really funny in episode 7. I don't know if you will think it's funny since humor is subjective, but it really makes me laugh every time I watch it. Benedict has a really funny episode. I don't want to say which one, but once he gets going, you'll probably know that that's the one. I actually hope they give him more comedy to do in season 3 because that would be a very different energy for a leading Bridgerton man. Humor is a very attractive quality in a person. Wouldn't you want to fall in love with someone who can make you laugh? Next question, what are your feelings on Anthony and Kate's vulnerability this season, separate or together? Anthony and Kate's vulnerabilities are explored a lot in this season. You get to unpack their layers in detail. That's why I've already hyped up Anthony having those recurring scenes with his mother and even some of the conversations that he has with Daphne. Then for Kate, she actually gets to reveal a lot of her layers and dimensions in conversations with Lady Danbury, in addition to her mother. I know a lot of people are excited to see Kate's scenes with Anthony, but if you really want to learn about Kate as a three-dimensional character, those are the scenes you should be excited for. I feel like I've been really sappy and complimentary up until this point, but if you will permit me the space to say something that actually is more on the critical side. I'm assuming a lot of the book readers want to see the flashback stuff for Anthony, and yes, the material and the performances are all fantastic, but I don't know what VFX company or artists were hired for this, or more importantly, who crunched the numbers in the budget to allocate a particular sum to VFX. But they should probably reconsider their approach because they use this de-aging effect on Jonathan's skin and Anthony's mother as well. But especially on Jonathan's skin, it looks really weird. It looks like if you're trying to do skin smoothing on a phone app, but you set the brush to be too large of a size and too strong of a setting, so you just end up looking blurry. I don't know, maybe no one else will notice it, but I did. The flashback material is still great though. All of the angsty stuff for Anthony is terrific to watch, especially when they throw in a Dutch tilt. Listen, I love a Dutch tilt. Dolly zooms are always a fun camera trick, but do not underestimate a good Dutch tilt. Next question, I really want to know more about their relationship. Also, I really want to know if there are any shots of the cliffs of Dover or if my clowning in cliff matching was for a completely different show. I don't think I remember there being any cliffs, and even if I did, I haven't done a deep dive into cross-referencing which locations were used to film which parts of the show. But as for Kate and Edwina's relationship, I adore their relationship. I'm actually filming and writing this video after seeing there was some drama on the Bird app, but when is there not drama on the Bird app? Apparently there were some claims floating around about a love triangle. That expression never would have occurred to me to use to describe this season. When I think of love triangles, I think of stories like Twilight and just YA fiction in general.
Bella, where the hell have you been, Loca?
When I think of love triangles, I think of two people fighting over the same person and being in opposition to one another. That is not even remotely the conflict of the season or that relationship cluster. Anthony is looking for a wife, Kate is looking for a husband for Edwina. Anthony and Kate are attracted to each other a lot, and they have to grapple with whether or not to keep pursuing what they feel are their duties to their families or to follow their hearts. Kate really, really loves Edwina. She wants her to have the best, happiest life she can possibly have. Kate is extremely selfless. She puts her family before herself in a lot of ways. You will not have any doubts that Kate adores Edwina. Edwina also respects Kate because Kate has put in so much work into caring for her and trying to teach her things that will make her more prepared for the competitive world of the Ton. There's a scene where Kate is doing some grooming for Edwina's hair, and I love that scene because you can really feel how much they love each other in that moment. Seeing as how I'm almost hitting the 5-page mark of notes for this video, I'm going to wrap things up for now, but stay tuned because I will be posting more videos about Bridgerton Season 2. I'm still brainstorming what sort of reviews or discussions I may do after all the episodes are out, and I won't have to stay silent about certain plot points. You can let me know if you're interested in sticking around after the episodes are out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!